All right, morning, everybody. Call the meeting to order. Hey, Sean, could you please shut the door? Thank you. We'll have public comments limited to agenda items only and 2 minutes per individual. So do we have any public comments in the room? Anybody online? Any public comments? Any public comments? All right. So we'll move on. Acknowledge minutes, and that was from April 1st.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Good morning, Dwayne. Meet with County Engineer.
Good morning, Supervisors. Happy Eclipse Day. Remember, do not look at the sun without proper eyewear. If you only got one set of eyes, take care of them. I'm talking to you, Susie Drish.
Public service announcement.
Yes. Let's see, last week we got a little rock done on some of the roads. We're just about done with the Southwest Quadrant Trents District. Then I think we'll move over to southeast to Quinns and the Lockridge and Glasgow area. Things are going fairly well. Moving along with that. We got in contact with the pipelining contractor and had a pre-con with them for the pipelining on Salina Road. They hope to move in April, it'd be the week of the 22nd. If they can get started that week, they might just get mobilized and then do it the next week. We'll know better when we get a little closer.
And this is down by that bridge, right?
Yeah, there's 4, let's see, between the bridge and back towards Spruce, I believe. So there's 2 right at Umber and 2 back the other direction, back to the west from there. They anticipate 1 day per pipe, so it should be 4 days, weather permitting. So they should be in and out in a week. Something they asked about was payment for stored materials, which the IDOT allows under certain conditions. So we emailed them the requirements that they have to meet, that we can prepay them for their material that they have on hand for the project. So that may be on the payments or the claims next week. See what they come up with for documentation that we need. This morning at 11, we're meeting for a pre-construction conference for our 2024 patch project with Norris. And they hope to get started week of the 17th, which is actually the Wednesday, I believe. So sometime around the 17th, they should be moving in to get started as well. And that is Dowd's Road, Old 34 east and west of town, Salina Road, and Glasgow Road.
Do you have any special work to do for Brackway coming through?
No,
Okay.
no, I notified them that they did choose one of the worst routes in the county as their way into Fairfield. And they said that they rode it on bicycles, and other than a couple of patches, which we plan on taking care of this summer anyway, that they thought it was fine. So, yeah, they contacted me back in, January or February and swore me to secrecy. That's why I couldn't either confirm or deny what they were doing. And they assured me that the stretch of 78 from Pleasant Plain Road to Brighton would be open in time for RAGBRAI. So if they're sure it's going to happen, on more power to them. So we'll see how that flies for them. They may be taking a right turn on 110th and going that way to get over to
Oh dear.
get over to Germanville Road. I don't know. See what else have I got on my list here. Got the check plans for the Libertyville Road Bridge late Friday, so I'll be going over those this week to make sure that everything's in order for. And that puts us right on track for November 11th, so. And that's really all I believe.
Okay. Moving on, agenda item number 2, review and consider IDOT FY 2025 budget submittal.
This one pretty much mirrors what you guys have so far as our current budget. The DOT lumps things together, so the line items are different than what the county's budget is, but the bottom line, I believe, is correct. And anything you guys choose to change, we can always amend the budget later in the year as things are required.
Are there any questions for Glenn? Anybody want to make a motion?
Make motion for approval of second reading. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 3, review and consider secondary road department current 5-year construction plan 2025 to 2029.
I printed out a map that has labels on top of the different projects that we have going forward. This includes, most of these are either farm to market or grant projects. We're not doing any construction other than the tank car bridge replacements. All the other construction we're doing with either farm to market or the Region 15 STBG grant money or other grants as we are lucky enough to receive them.
Okay. It seems like it's pretty much everything you told us.
The next 2 years are fairly solid. Get out past that and things are subject to changes as
Because things
conditions,
change.
as conditions warrant, you know.
Mhm.
And yes, the bridge on 165th is still on there.
You.
Any questions for Glenn? All right. We have a motion.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks, Glenn.
Get out of your head.
Morning, Brian.
Good morning. Yes, sir. Good morning. Listen, hopefully none of y'all lost power yesterday. I know I did. So, with that, the hospital went on divergent yesterday because of the loss of power and they lost computers.
Was that like through the whole town or just localized?
South side, where I live off Dogwood, and all of us lost power. We finally got power on about 6:30 last night. Hospital's computers went down yesterday. They are back up. However, they're not anything that requires CT or radiology. We'll check with them first, see if it's up. If not, we're going to surrounding hospitals, and they were notified yesterday that we could be coming there or not.
So is this, when we did that contract, is this an example of like a transport that they pay for because they're not able to provide the service?
I believe so, yes, ma'am. And that really depends on the patient.
Sure.
And their insurance. Of course, we're gonna bill their insurance first
Right.
and all that. If it's not, if they don't have any insurance, that goes back to the hospital's responsibility.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, so that's what's happening today.
All right.
And we'll just check with them. Currently for the month of April, we've had 36 calls so far, 9 transports. Total for the year, since started, we've done 892 calls, 94 transports for 2024, which is a total of 177 transports that we've done since October 1st. Currently in our account, we have $12,786.87. March 25th, 78,552 cents was transferred, Mark transferred into the county's account. Y'all were aware of. April 1st, the $13,803.42 were transferred into the county's account, which brings a total of $90,328.94.
Yeah, Mark and I had a good talk on Friday. And
Correct.
he said you got a good process in place now, so that's good.
He transferred.
Excuse me one second. Somebody needs to mute their line. I'm not sure who it is.
And he transfers money every Monday.
Yeah.
Mark does, so just let you know. Currently, month to date for billing was $12,206, and that's still coming in. For the year, it's $125,845, and that's all stuff that is coming in currently.
Yeah, and he said pretty much there's a little bit coming in every day, so that's good.
There is every day, and plus with Medicare, we had to, since we got approval, and the stuff that went beforehand, that's still coming in. I submitted a claim for all those Blue Cross Blue Shields as well, still coming in. We're getting either paper checks or we're getting direct deposits. Currently that we're expected to come in so far is $588,701, not including what we have already received. So adding together, that's about $700,000. So we're close, and we'll probably exceed what was originally budgeted for income wise.
Right.
So, other than that, the new ambulance, I know we're in discussions with that.
Yeah, I talked to Kevin Friday, and the invoice says we have to pay on delivery, and I know there's concern among us to
Right.
make sure the warranty, he said it's any typical warranty, but that F450
Okay.
and then the underbelly, but we'll get something in writing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about, I think the professionals will handle the warranty work on
Right.
on chassis in the truck. But I do think that we need something in writing from Kevin, a warranty on what's covered in that box. Now, I know the box is refurbished, but there's all kinds of equipment, stuff that,
Do you want to give him a call and let him know what you specifically want?
yeah.
And I asked Darcy to get a check ready, because as soon as we get that resolved, hopefully this morning, maybe
Okay.
even we can get that done, because we're not going to get, he's made it clear he's not delivering until he knows there's a check waiting for him.
Well, I would ask you to be on that call because I don't know what all's in there that,
Okay, I sure will.
I mean,
Yeah, I've talked to him. He sent pictures to me that looks really good. And of course, as you are aware of it, there were several discussions either about us going to pick it up, that changed. And I guess he's delivering it.
He's willing to deliver it. He
Yes.
just, in the invoice clearly does say payment upon delivery,
Excellent.
so.
So, and of course, that's in your lane that
Yeah.
discussing about money and all that. So, other than that, hopefully,
Maybe you two can call him between this meeting and the work session or something.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
no, ma'am, please. No,
All right,
there's not. Okay.
questions for Brian? All right, thanks.
gosh, I must be living right. Mine was on last night about 4:30, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
moving on,
Yeah,
update
thank you.
from Grove Fairfield, Ed Malloy and Grove Fairfield is formerly FIDA, welcome.
Yes, good morning. Thank you.
And just to let you know, we do have a public hearing at 9.
Oh, okay. And so you'll watch for the questions that come in, but that's fine. Good morning. So I just wanted to give you an update on some of our activities and some of our priorities starting after the first of the year. We are going to have a strategic planning session in May, where we'll actually dig into some goals for the coming year. But coming into this year, our priorities are really housing and, new housing development, infill development within the city. And also, the downtown. We began at the beginning of the year, kind of convening groups that really have some interest in the downtown. So the city, our organization, Chamber of Commerce, and also the tourism division. So we began kind of thinking, how to work with property owners to get a little bit better building care, work on recruiting new businesses to the downtown, and also just generally kind of working on the beautification and upkeep of the downtown. That kind of evolved at the Chambers side into considering starting a Main Street organization. Probably familiar with the Main Street organization, and it is similar to a Chamber of Commerce. It's a membership-based organization, but it is solely focused on the downtown.
How big is downtown in that definition?
Yeah, I think it's going to extend a block in every direction, but I'm not sure. I haven't read how it's defined. So the chamber board approached, our organization approached the city to be partners and to sign a letter of intent to request an application for it. So those organizations all signed it. We are then invited to apply. We suspect we'll get an invitation to apply in here sometime in late April or early May. And then we would begin the process of filling out an application and setting those boundaries and declaring what it is that we're going to do. With all of the things that have been done in the downtown over the last couple of decades, there have been some real money invested and there have been some good things that have been done. But in between those periods of time, there's a lack of attention on it. And I think that's where we fall short. And I think the Main Street organization sense. So we're going to see, how far we'll get with it. But whether that comes together or not, we're committed to working together to fulfill all of those things. When we've had Main Street representatives and organization visit us in the past, they've said you have all of the elements of a Main Street. It's just a matter of coordinating it under the organization. So we're hoping that comes together. From the housing side, at the end of last year, as you're well aware, we purchased 37 acres of land off Libertyville Road that was annexed into the city. So we're going to be focusing on development of that property. We have a development workshop on Thursday where we're bringing in an expert to kind of lay out a timeline for this development. I've had conversations with the city and with French Rent-A-Cur on the infrastructure pieces for this, and I think the city is prepared to support that going forward. And then the next is that, our housing study shows that there's a market for single-family homes, for workforce quality homes. So we know where kind of the sweet spot is for it. And it's a matter of how we approach the development part. Traditionally, the larger developers in the state aren't doing a lot in rural areas. I kind of discovered that when I was mayor, and everybody I called just basically said, I'm too busy elsewhere. And they just weren't interested in the community, but that's changed. There are more developers in the state, and they are looking to branch out. There are a couple that specialize in rural housing development. There's a company out of Des Moines that's associated with Hubble Realty called Origin Homes, and they only do rural workforce housing. And what they will do is they will come in and do 5 to 7 houses at a time, which I think would be a good pace for us. But it's not exclusive to one developer. If you've got the infrastructure in place, I spoke with another developer that's developing out of the Des Moines area, and they basically said, if you've got shovel-ready property, then we'll come in and take a look at taking a chunk of that. They're going to do they're in the process of doing their own marketing assessment right now about how much business they feel would be here, but they would do 10 houses at a time. Depending on the density, we think that land, the developable portions of that land could be 40 or 50 homes. And to kind of program that out over a 3 to 5 year period of time is probably what we're going to be looking to do. We're also working with the city on infill development, and that is going to be either vacant lots within the city that exist already, or houses that are in a dilapidated shape that could be condemned and demolished and then turned into usable lots. But we have a lot of interest in that housing as well. That would be smaller, a smaller footprint of homes, and there's some interest for that. So there's a separate committee that's working on that at this point as well. We're on April 16th, we're co-sponsoring an event with the Small Business Development Corporation out of Ottumwa that helps with business funding, business plans for our entire region. And they're hosting basically it's going to be an information piece that is about business investment that's coming into the state. There's $96 million that's coming in. I don't know the source of the money, and I'm not sure where the programs are going to be. We're going to find out. I don't think anybody knows at this time, but we're going to be one of the places in the state where they're going to kind of unveil this. So we're hopefully going to see some, good quality investment dollars coming into new business.
So what department's that through the state?
It's likely coming through Iowa Economic Development Authority. But then again, SBDC being a federal organization may be coming directly through them.
Okay.
So. And something that started up in January that we've been involved in is an event called Traction Thursday. And this is something that meets every Thursday. It's now meeting at the CoLab just outside our offices. It started out over at Bountiful, the other bakery. Anyway, what this group formed around a state initiative to encourage development of small businesses in rural counties. And there's a 10-county area in southeast Iowa that was funded first. And the gentleman that represents the Iowa Economic Development Authority is Alex Taylor. He was one of the founders of the Cedar Rapids New Bohemian Cooperative, the business accelerator that's been very popular. And he comes down once a week. Right now, we're partnered with Henry County and somewhat over into the Burlington area as well. And essentially, it's a meeting for new businesses and young entrepreneurs to present their business ideas, to basically get advice, find others to network and to partner with in the process. So it's something that's taking place every Thursday, and we're starting to see some good business conversations coming out of that. I wanted to mention that early in the year, I visited with Steve Wimme, and I wanted to ask if his help in a project to look at all of the developments that our organization's done since the 1980s. Whether they were housing subdivisions or industrial parks, any of the land development that we've done within the city, just to take a look at valuation. And Steve was very helpful. We found that right now there's $76 million of valuation that's been created by a lot of those projects. And FIDA is a nonprofit, so that's our mission is basically to provide that service to the city and county for development. And it has really paid a lot of value over those years, and we hope to add a lot more in the coming few years. I know that, I think the most recent economic news is the closing of Faircast and the Foundry. And I guess when I first heard the news, I thought, well, what's the likelihood of something continuing there? And lo and behold, there's a company that's called in and is looking at the property at this point in time. It's a little premature to say anything publicly, but it's I think it's very good that there is interest there, so we don't lose those jobs. Hopefully, be able to preserve them and add to them. That is pretty much everything I just wanted to report at this time, and ask if you had any questions or any priorities or things you'd like to see our organization working on.
In the lane of housing, I guess I would ask you to talk to Chris Powers, the Area 15, you know, the prison industries are building
Yeah.
houses. And relatively speaking, inexpensive in terms of cost to the consumer. Obviously, they have a lot they have to have, and, you know, the basement and all that, but then they bring those sections in and put them together. And I don't know if that fits, or I don't know if they would fit into those lots you were looking at.
Yes,
developing in town.
exactly, Lee. They do. So that is, I'm meeting with a prison industries representative next week. And I know that Habitat for Humanity has already brought one of those in. And I'm going to say that's probably close to the size lots that we're looking at as for infill. So yeah, we're definitely aware of that, and that would definitely be a resource for us. Sure.
What's the dollar range for workforce housing? Because I keep hearing that term, and
Yeah,
it seems like that the cost is higher than maybe the workforce is paid in this area.
yeah. You know, I'm going to say the way that it's thought of out, you know, and outside of here is between 150 and 300,000. I think most of the developers are between 175 and 225,000. You know, construction costs right now are 175 to 200 a square foot minimum. So you're not building a lot of house even, you know, for that. One of the things that the state offers are the workforce housing tax credits. So whatever we do for development, whether we act as kind of the entry for the developer, or the developer comes in with their own, it's likely we'll try to use those tax credits so that we can buy down the cost of the housing somewhat. And then, you know, we'll have to see, you know, how we use that piece of property or others, but you can also do, you know, a higher density with apartments that would meet, it's not home ownership, but it's at least, you know, lower rents that people can afford as well. But we'll use every option we have to buy down the cost of the home, but it's probably going to be that type of a range.
All right. Any other questions? All right.
Great. Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for the update.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Yep. Appreciate it. Thanks, Lynn.
Congratulations on your new role.
Thank you.
All right, we have a couple minutes before 9, so we probably have time to set the time for fiscal year 2025 budget hearing. Do we need to accept that?
It's either 29th or the 30th. Those are your only two options,
All right, 29,
isn't it? Whatever you guys want.
Works for me.
9 a.m. All right, I'll make a motion that we have that on the 29th of April at 9 a.m.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Set meeting date for declaring emergency medical services to be essential service.
June 17th.
When?
June 17th.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I know it's just,
Published for 60
Chauncey
days.
said even though we've done it, we didn't do it right, so we have to do it again.
Yeah,
And I know Abby's been on the timeline, so June 17th.
I looked at-
yeah,
Okay.
and you've done a timeline, so
We
we,
did.
thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we have that hearing or set meeting date for declaring emergency medical services to be essential service on June 17th.
Second,
And we just need a date, not a time, right? All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty. And we should just be a couple seconds before a public hearing, before we start the public hearing. Just a couple notes. Everybody gets 2 minutes. It's our role to listen once we open it. And then after we close it, if we have any questions or follow-up, we'll ask clarification. And please address any of the comments to the Board of Supervisors, not each other. Did I miss anything there? Otherwise, it is 9 o'clock and we need a motion for a public hearing to rescind the reclassification of a portion of 110th Street.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Do we have any comments for us to listen to?
You need a copy. More copy.
This one? Yeah, it is. Do we have any comments within the room? Okay. Do we have any comments online? If so, please, make yourself your comment. All right. Do we have any comments? Okay, I'm not seeing or hearing any online or in the room. Any other comments? Okay,
Motion to close.
we have a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. We'll go to number 4, discuss and consider resolution to rescind the reclassification of a portion of 110th, which is in front of us and reads as follows. Whereas Jefferson County desires to classify certain roads on the area of service system in the county to provide for a minimum level of maintenance. And whereas Jefferson County, after consultation with the county engineer, has the authority to specify certain roads within the county as areas service B roads pursuant to Iowa Code Section 309.57. And whereas the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors, after consulting with the Jefferson County engineer, desire to designate various roads in Jefferson County on the area service B system to provide for a reduced level of maintenance in order to best utilize maintenance funds. And whereas pursuant to notice of public hearing duly published according to the Iowa Code, public hearing as held on the 8th day of April 2024 at 9 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors room at the Jefferson County Courthouse, Fairfield, Iowa, to hear support and or objections from the public roads to so designated. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Jefferson County that this county does hereby establish the roads described as an area service B road with restricted access and a minimum level of maintenance. Road description 110th Street from W21 to City Lagoon and Section 12 of Penn Township from Class A to a Class B road. And any updates we have from last week?
I haven't heard anything.
Maybe Susie?
So the only question I have, which really doesn't, I don't suppose apply to this resolution, but do we have to, here at some point, change the 2088? Okay.
No, it's considered, it was a level B, I believe, when the 2080 was last updated.
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago. So it's on the map as part of the 2080 agreement, and the level of the road is really irrelevant, I would guess, for the 2080 agreement purposes.
All right.
Hearing no other comments, I would make a motion to adopt this resolution. Well, what do we do? Want to read? anyway, 110th from W21 to the city lagoon, from Class A to Class B.
Second.
A motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Oh, we have to sign this. How many copies do we need? Who all needs a copy?
Couple.
Couple.
Thank you.
Keep one. Right. Alrighty, storage space. I just put this on here just to touch base. So I talked to Dave last week about Maple Street, getting stuff out of there. And I talked to Bob Kiefer Thursday or Friday. And he's willing to take a look at it. So when he has time, he's gonna contact me and I'll put him in touch with Dave. So I basically told him to give us an offer of a bid or if he wanted the stuff in lieu of that. And then Dave had talked to me, and this is why I put it on the agenda, about if we have any reason we want to move any files from here over to there. I mean, we need to figure that out because if we move some of those court system files, he thought maybe they would want some of the file cabinets before we get rid of them. And I don't know. That's why this is on to discuss it.
Yeah, I don't know. What's what I'm looking for? I don't know whether they want, I mean, they can go down and look and see, I suppose. If they wanted, if they wanted to. I think one of the things that we need to establish once we get the stuff out of there is, I don't know exactly how to go about it, but if all of that stuff down there belonged to DHS as far as they were using a quote, but it was actually belongs to us, I feel like that before they replace it, we need to be apprised of that. Whether it's a desk, whether it's a file cabinet or whatever.
Well, that'd be a conversation with Dave.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is that's how all that stuff ends up down there is they go buy new. And they don't touch base with us when they buy new, but then it becomes our responsibility financially to dispose of it. And I think we should have the right to say yay or nay, you can or you can't replace it.
And we should probably put that on the agenda and get Dave here and have that discussion.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm not trying to be a horse's ass. I'm just, once again, how many times have we done this?
Right?
And I'm not suggesting that they don't need new equipment, but if at the very least, if we have the conversation at the time they're doing it, it's a whole lot easier to move one file cabinet than it is to move 100 file cabinets.
So what you're saying is we need to be very clear that they cannot put anything down there.
Right. I mean, it just keeps accumulating, and then all of a sudden, and that's, I think that's right, Susie. That's what
Okay,
I'm
so
looking
once
at.
we figure out if Kiefer's willing to move this stuff, we'll proceed with that. Okay? All right, moving on, make committee reports.
I didn't actually have any last week, but wanted to bring to the board's attention. I'm going over tomorrow morning to do interviews for the sanitarian position in Henry County. And I've got two to do, Bruce and I do. He's pretty high on the first one. He's hoping that one, but I have not talked to either candidate yet, so we'll be doing that tomorrow. And possibly it would be on the agenda the following day for the board to approve.
The rest board,
Huh?
the rest board.
Right. So,
Just clarifying.
and So I'll be over there at 10 o'clock
Okay.
for that.
Susie,
Nothing.
I had CVB on Monday, and I was the only ad hoc committee person there, so they let me stay for the whole meeting, so I did learn about RAGBRAI. And so what it is support vehicles are gonna be in Fairfield, not the whole thing, although the whole thing is going through parts of the county. Support vehicles will be here. So they're
You said
working
they'll be here. Where is here?
Fairfield, I mean, wherever they
Wherever they
choose,
put the car and park.
wherever they have parking places and set up, so that'll be on that Friday. I think it's July 29th, maybe. No, might be 26th.
It's the 26th.
Yeah,
The routes coming through town, Livingville Road to one, and then north through the town square. There's a curve through and out. By the road.
okay.
Come on, Main Street.
So the actual ride's coming through town then, okay. Well, the support vehicles are gonna be here too, so. And then I have DCAT,
What is that?
end of July.
I just need to be out of town.
Just don't plan on.
We'll wave at you when you ride your bicycle, pal.
Yeah.
I'll take my RV. When I go out of town, I take my RV with me.
All right. I have DCAT, and again, it's Prevent Child Abuse Awareness Month. And DCAT, like every other board, is curious to see what's gonna happen once everybody finds out what Department of Health and Human Services is gonna do. Particularly, I know juvenile with Court Sealy there, just wondering. I had a Justice Advisory Board meeting. Again, that's a state board governor's appointment, and they're in the same boat, wondering what's going to happen to that board because they're reviewing all the boards and commissions. So stay tuned on that one. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Okay. We'll have claims and approved reports. Have you looked at these?
Yeah, I have.
We got enough rain around here that skunk in here in Mount Pleasant was just about out, and I think South Cedar down at the bottom was out.
Speaking of which, so I'm chair of Pathfinders, and I haven't stopped by there for an issue the other day, and Pathfinders has a contract to monitor water quality. And so the gal that does that was going to go out because she had been asked to specifically, because there was a lot of runoff from that rain, and do that. So it'll be interesting to see what those results come out, but that's part of IDOL's contract. Alrighty. All right, I'll make a motion that we approve $50,558.90.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. I've been asked to Zoom the budget work session, so we can do that. Do we want to take a break before we go into that?
I'm good. If you guys are, if you want a break, that's fine too.
No,
I
we
don't
can
care.
go ahead. Do you want to let Shannon come in?
You don't know, honestly.
Okay, well, let's adjourn this meeting and then we'll start it.
Push to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
All right. Because I know she told me on Friday that she had some new worksheets for us, so we'll see what those are. All right.
Are we still on?
Yeah.
So by the time the governor decides what she's gonna do with the 40 committees and do you think that'll be next year or the year after?
All I know is screw up.
Yeah.
Then they'll have to come back and fix that, or fix this, or fix that. Do you know, does the region still have a contract with Optima to do evaluations and stuff?
At the hospital, what they have? Yeah. I would suggest calling Sandy if you have any questions about that.
Well, I didn't have any questions as far as, what I have a question is whether or not they did their job or the hospital did their job.
I guess that would be a question for Sandy. Hey, Mark.
Hi.
Thanks for sending that stuff last week. So, we were meeting last week, but tried to get him to come over and talk to us anyway. He sent us a really nice information and data, and we had a really good meeting. Thank you. So, appreciate all your data. Stretch. Is she making?
Yeah, I guess she's friends. Updated fund balance worksheets for you.
Okay.
Abby, did you have a nice weekend?
It's looking pretty good now.
All right.
Have updated fund balance worksheets for you.
Oh, good. Now I know what to do with the tree they cut down on Sunday. Thank you, Seamus.
Yep.
Did you already set the date for the hearing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
20.
At what time?
9, we do everything at 9 in the morning.
That works. So I have to get this sent to the paper by 9 on Thursday. I've got to get it entered in the
Okay.
state form still.
9, 10, October.
Are you guys looking to make any more changes, or you feel like it's pretty well locked in?
Wasn't looking at anything.
Okay. Well, I feel like you don't really need to. The fund balances look good now.
So what's changed?
So, this is just updating the fund balances with the changes that you guys have made to this point. They look good to me. I think if you want to go with it the way that you proposed it to date, I think you would have a good budget. We are still projecting, going through $200,000 of general basic fund balance. But the supplemental fund is growing. This would be going through 150,000 of rural basic fund balance.
So with this rural basic,
Is our. Oh, okay, no.
you mentioned in the past we're like the second lowest
Of the, yes, the rural basic levy.
in the state.
Yep. But at this point, we can't raise it anymore with the new legislation.
Right. We have a lot of limits on it because
Yeah,
of the legislation.
That doesn't make any sense to me that we were that low and they're still limiting us more. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and that's what I heard at ISAC is that, you know, they're penalizing everybody
Yeah.
basically.
Bad legislation.
And the other thing is that they wanted to give it a full year before they look at it. So we'll see if
Yeah.
they make any
We
changes.
need to look at it again.
Right.
Well, I need to understand or have some rudimentary knowledge of where it pools down at the bottom before you make the decision up at the top. You need to swim around in the pool for a little bit.
You think that's gonna happen?
Huh?
Do you think that's gonna?
No, I don't. I mean, how many times have I invited him to come just sit through one budget session?
All right. So what decisions do we need to make?
I feel like if you guys want to go with this budget, it's, you know, when I say we're going to be, this is projecting going through $200,000 in reserves of general basic. That's if everyone spends everything you've given them in their budget, which that never happens. But as much as we've cut the past few years, it's going to happen more often.
Right.
So we'll come closer to spending all of the budgets because you've cut so much in the past few years. And same with the rural basic fund. This is projecting 150,000 of reserve expenditure. But you've got a good fund balance in that one.
Right.
The thing that worries me on rural basic is when we get to the point where we don't have those bond payments anymore, then we're going to have to transfer more to meet our local match for the road use tax.
And that's several years out.
Like 29.
Okay.
But that's quite a bit that we're using. That's I think 450,000 around there that we're using to show local match.
Yeah. And again, we're in a lot better shape than a lot of surrounding
Yeah.
counties.
Yeah, we're in good shape. We need to be mindful of it still, but I think that this is a good budget.
So again, what do you need from us? Just to know.
I just need to know that you want to move forward with publishing this in the paper with the current. The only change that we made is we noticed that we hadn't yet moved the revenue from the small cities that is for law enforcement for the sheriff's budget to the rural fund. And I did that this morning. That's included in these estimates. Michelle
Well,
sent me
that's
the
a small
numbers.
revenue, so.
Well, it's also the Pekin.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's 50,000.
Good.
So Michelle sent me the numbers and I changed those this morning. So those are included in these fund balance estimates. So the revenues are now in the rural basic fund. Everything else is the same as what we had last talked about.
So that's in this 309
Yes.
line.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Comments? Please.
I think we go with what you got.
I agree.
All right. Anything else we need to do?
I guess the only other thing that I need from you is the explanation for increases. If you want to show it, we don't always show that.
Be the same
But
as last
the
time.
same as what we did for the county ambulance for the last publication. Okay,
And the plan for that is to get that on the ballot in November as a levy, so. Abby's on top of the timeline on it. And then by
Alright.
then we'll have some data in a year of operations, so.
I'll get it all entered in the state forms and get it sent to the papers then.
And this has to be, our deadline is the 30th.
Yes. So the 29th is, that works.
All right. All right,
Thank you.
any comments?
Thanks. Amy.
Been a process.
Hmm?
I said it's been a process,
So it's not gonna be any better next year.
probably not.
So I don't know, I mean, I already said this in the department manager meeting, when it comes to staff and retaining staff with no increase, it's difficult. Especially when you have, you know, professional licensure. I have to say it, I'd be remiss if I didn't.
It's what you said the other day too.
It is, but not everybody was at that meeting, so I want to just say it again. And I'll continue to say it,
And that's fine.
yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, you know, if we wanted to do, because we did up at ISAC saying never to get, there was an HR guy that spoke during, well, panel, and they said, don't give a 0% raise, it was do like a half or 1%. If we could do that, could you pull it out of your existing budgets? Because that's what we'd have to do at this point, if we wanted to do that. That's the only way we can do it, because we can't increase anything at this point.
I don't know how that would work when we don't have the money in the budget, but you guys know there's no money in the budget, so you
And
can't magically make it appear I'm not gonna spend any straw of gold anytime soon. I wish I could.
let's just hope the legislators,
They don't care. They absolutely do not care. They don't understand the complexities of county budgets. They don't understand the complexities of the whole alignment process with Health and Human Services that's gonna impact 20 departments. Big departments.
Yep.
So,
and
You're singing the choir.
I
We
know,
know that.
we understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Want to do with counties, what they did in school districts.
yeah. All right, if there's no other business, motion adjourned.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Okay, thanks, everybody.